Alright guys, I have a opinion, chit chat that some people may or may not like, but I just want to speak very candidly about this because I feel like it's actually quite frustrating that I feel like I have to constantly sugarcoat how I feel about certain situations. I honestly feel like women have been gaslit for the past however many years to pretend that biological men identifying as women have the exact same experiences as biological women. And it's actually getting quite frustrating because it's like, once you realize, it's like, I'm tired of having to pretend. I'm tired of having to pretend trans women have the same experiences as women. We don't have the same experiences. Obviously, from jump, the fact that you were born a biological male means we will never have the exact same experience as women. And it's like telling women we're just supposed to ignore biological realities between male and female to pretend a biological man is a woman is actually getting on a lot of people's nerves. Not because we're trying to be hateful, not because we're trying to be exclusive, but we're tired of being gaslit. We're tired of y'all telling us that it's the exact same thing. A man, a person who was born a biological male is not the same as a person born biologically female. And y'all trying to say we're both equally women. We both have the same experiences as women. No, we don't. And it's actually frustrating. So basically, this woman in London started a female-only gym because she didn't feel safe. She wanted to protect females, women. And I also feel like the whole entire issue, which I pointed out in other videos about the trans community, is that the trans community seeks to erase any aspect of woman that is biologically female. They don't want people associating any sort of biological things to women that are solely female biological aspects. And it's literally just to please the feelings of biological men cosplaying as women, pretending to be women. I don't know. Because to be quite honest, I feel like there's a lot of trans women that are really just men cosplaying as women for attention, for views. They're narcissists at the end of the day. And some of them are actually just predators. I don't care what anyone says. I don't believe that's every trans woman, but there's a lot of weird trans women that go under the label, the guise of being trans, that are literally just creepy men trying to sneak their way into women's spaces because they have a sick fetish. And one of the ones that I feel like is I don't know. It's just, it makes me so uncomfortable to have a fully grown man that looks like a man calling themselves a woman and then demanding to be included in women's spaces, in women's restrooms, in women's sports. It's getting annoying. It's getting tired. Okay, guys, I don't know how much I got to say before it got cut off, but basically I'm talking about why it's frustrating as a woman to feeling like you're being gaslit. Okay guys, I keep running out of space, but basically I feel like women are being gaslit by biological men to pretend biological women don't exist. We're being gaslit to just pretend like a biological male has the same exact experience as a biological female. I also feel like the entire basis of someone being trans is that they know they're not a woman. Like, that's the whole freaking point. So why are we pretending they are? Why are we acting as if trans women aren't trans women and women aren't women? We're not one and the same. We're different based off of the biological realness of a trans woman being born biological male and trying to erase any aspect of womanhood that's biologically female is basically what the trans community attempts to do, because these biological males are basically gentrifying womanhood so that it includes males. So they're trying to get rid of any aspect of womanhood that is discreetly and solely biological female, so that a biological man can feel more comfortable pretending to be a woman. And it's actually quite frustrating for a lot of women whose identity as woman is solely based off of their biology. Like, that is who's being erased. I don't care about, you know, all of the gendered aspects of womanhood, wearing the color pink, liking makeup, liking whatever. My only thing that makes me a woman is my actual biology. And to have a bunch of men cosplaying as women telling me I don't get to talk about anything solely biological when it comes to women because I'm excluding biological men from this conversation is like the biggest form of gaslighting. And the women that understand this get this, because I'm just tired of pretending. It's not that I'm trying to hurt a trans person's feelings. It's not even that I'm trying to exclude them. It's just we're obviously different. Trans women should be fighting for their own spaces instead of fighting to take over women's spaces. You know, it's not being hateful to say, hey, women are separated from men based off of their biology, not how they identify. Women need spaces that are solely based off of their biology, not just someone identifying as a woman, because it is for women's safety that these things happen. It's not fair to let biological males into sports. This creator who wanted her female-only gym getting hated on because she specified that she wanted it to be just for biological women for certain reasons. She wants to do safety classes and all these things. And like the fact that it's women attacking her because she's not including trans women as a part of that, because trans women aren't biologically females, and acting like she did it specifically to attack the trans community. It wasn't even about the trans community. She's literally just focusing on a biological woman's issue. It's like everything isn't about the trans community, and that's okay. And I feel like it shouldn't be hated on that she wants this. If trans women want to create their own spaces, and quite frankly, I honestly feel like it should be under LGBT. Why is the LGBT, the T part of LGBT, being held under the women's rights? Like, why is that even associated with women's rights when it's a LGBTQ issue, right? LGBTQ, y'all can fight for your own spaces that include everyone in the LGBT or that are exclusive to LGBT people. There's a lot of places that are exclusive to LGBT people. I don't have a problem with that, as I'm not a part of that community. I don't feel excluded because LGBTQ wants spaces just for LGBTQ. It's like every space is not intended for every single person. Now, in a public space that's welcome to everyone, of course, this girl opened a private gym. She has every right to specify that she wants it to be a female-only gym for safety reasons, for concern. She had experience being groped, and she doesn't feel comfortable with any biological male, even those identifying as women, because it is a space solely for biological women. That should not be a problem. Okay, so I just think at the end of the day, it's frustrating because it's like the people being ignored in all of this is biological women. We're putting trans women's feelings constantly over the concerns, the opinions of biological women, because it's literally just another form of misogyny. And there's other women actively participating in this misogyny by validating or putting biological males identifying as women's needs over other women is actually crazy. It's literally just another form of misogyny repackaged as quote-unquote feminism. It's not feminism. It is very overtly the opposite of feminism. And it's really just like, why are biological males identifying as woman more valid than women who are born that way. And it's like the basis for femininity is literally females. That's biological, not identifying as something. Like, your literal biology is the basis for a woman, for a female, for a trans person's entire existence. And basically, the reason this whole situation is frustrating for me is because I feel like any woman who speaks out about it gets hated on and gets called a bigot. And it's like, I don't have anything against a person being trans, other than I definitely believe there are a lot of men labeling themselves trans who are just creeps and predators trying to get into women's spaces, especially the ones who very much still look like men. Y'all aren't even pretending to try to look like a woman. You just calling yourself a woman and saying, I demand access to this woman's space and I demand this thing. And it's just like, it's getting actually absurd and quite insane. It's insanity that there are some people supporting such delusional things happening in their own spaces. Bruh, could you turn any slower? I would not have turned behind that person if I knew they were going to make the slowest U-turn in the world. But anyways, I think there's a lot more women that understand what I'm saying, and there's probably more women that agree with me than don't. I think it's just like people who have these extreme takes, people who's, I don't know, it's like people think every issue is like anyone who doesn't agree with them is just automatically a hateful person. It's like, it's not that I don't want trans people to have their safety or protection. It just shouldn't be at the demise of biological women. And even the fact that there's people who want to label biological women as cis women, as if my identity as a woman came from being born. It's like, it's just annoying. It's just another way. It's like people want to force certain labels on women that we didn't ask for. There was not a single woman who asked to be called cis woman. If you're a woman who wants to be called a cis woman, good for you. I don't care. But I didn't ask for that label. Someone putting these labels on womanhood is just actually annoying. And it's literally all just to pretend biological men are equally women as much as women who are biological females. I honestly feel like this entire issue exists because people keep pretending something that is a lie is the truth. Like, at the end of the day, a trans woman is not a woman. A trans woman is a trans woman. It's like the more we keep pretending trans women and women are the exact same is the reason we have these issues that we have. Because a trans woman knows they're not a woman. That's why they're trans. Like, that's literally the whole reason someone transitions. Because the basis for them being trans is that they weren't born the biological sex they believe they're supposed to be. Also, gender does not exist without biological sex. The people who pretend like gender and sex are completely different things, no, they're not. They're literally, gender does not exist without biological sex. It's like, I don't understand. The basis of gender is biological sex. And if you remove biological sex from the equation, gender becomes absolutely meaningless. It doesn't measure anything. It's impersonal, which is why it's like, it doesn't matter. Someone's identity as a woman based off of gender doesn't exist without biological woman existing in the first place. Because what makes you feel like a woman is the fact that you see biological women in the world who've existed for years, and you're saying, well, I think I identify as something other than what I am. Like, why are we pretending biological sex is a non-issue, or it's like it doesn't matter at all with how someone is choosing to identify? And like I said, and none of these issues even impact men at all. It's like, this is if you want me to say what is really happening, is these biological men are basically mansplaining and manspreading all over women's spaces. The same way men always like to take up space. Like, if you look at what's manspreading, basically when men sit down, they don't care whose space they take over because they just care about themselves. That's what some trans women are doing in women's spaces. They're mansplaining, manspreading, and literally trying to tell biological women that we don't matter anymore because only their identity as a woman is more important than a biological woman's safety, essentially. And it's literally biological men acting like biological men. Once again, they're bringing the misogyny with them too, because I've heard even trans women be like, we're better than biological women for X, Y, and Z. And basically they said they're
you.